And YouTube looks good. Cats. Cute cats. Cute kitties. You're mean to my rug, though. You're mean to your rug. Alright, you staying in? Very well. This pretty much is my morning. I'm taking care of the animals pretty much since I got up. Alright, so I don't know, it's another gray, poopy kind of day. So I think I'll just sort of keep it in that theme. So just kind of quieting and stretchy versus a big, difficult thing here. Remember, you can always make a pose more challenging, always. Whether you hold it longer or you add, I don't know, a twist or some other piece to the pose to make it more, I was gonna say difficult, but we'll go with challenging again. Or less, right? If you're in a class and everyone's just going, you don't have to, right? You can always take the pose up or down. So if you need something a little bit more challenging today, then either add in or maybe skip this one. Okay. So just remember to listen to your body, and sometimes, I don't know, like your shoulders need more challenged, but your hips don't. Yeah? You can always kind of maneuver around that with your practice. Right? Just making sure that you're doing what your body needs that big. Doesn't mean forever. Some days are just more chill, and then the next day you can go at it again. But just, do what you need for yourself. And sometimes it's hard to know. So that whole piece of staying present, right, and aware of how you're feeling is extra important. Right? So with that in mind, let's start here with the heels aligned to the ground as much as they can. And remember, propping up is good. If this is absolutely not comfortable, sit on a block or a blanket, right, or a pillow. Not too soft a pillow, though. Make sure that you feel upright on your pelvis. And then lift the pelvic floor, pull the lower belly in and up. Sit tall through your sides, but stay relaxed through this upper belly. Right, down here is engaged, up here has to be relaxed and complete. Hands rest wherever is most comfortable. Go ahead and roll your shoulders down and back. Open up your chest here. Let your elbows feel heavy. And then sit really tall. Okay, crown of the head to the ceiling. Closing your eyes. Kind of checking in that your head is in line. So imagine moving the bottom tips of your ears back until you feel that place. We tend to carry the head forward, up on the neck, and then we wonder why our neck hurts. And then just be here for a moment and kind of check in and see if you can tell what your body needs already. Sometimes yes, sometimes not until you get into that area, right? Do a little inventory. And then bring that same awareness to your breath without changing anything, or just watching the breath flow. And then begin to stretch it out. So inhaling and exhaling all through the nose. Gently take the inhales a little bigger. And then your exhales a little deeper. And for just a moment, go ahead and gradually work to the extreme. So when you inhale, you couldn't get more full. When you exhale, you couldn't be more empty. And of course, it's not an absolute, it's just different than we normally breathe. And then find the middle between the breath that you started with and the big, gigantic breath Find something in the middle. I think we talked about the middle last week, didn't we? And that's the breath we want to maintain even as you move through the simplest, or the hardest, most challenging pose. You want that breath flowing at the time of being in that pose. So adding in movement, we'll extend the arms. Inhale and stretch them up. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Exhale, bring them back down. And just see if you can let your arms look like your breath. So as we inhale, the arms go slowly to the top. They're together when you're full, yeah? And then exhale, same idea, all the way down. Maybe touch the floor when you're empty. One more of those. Back to the top. Let's exhale, take the right hand back to the mat and give yourself a little tip over to that side. Keep the left sit going, rooted on the floor. Take a big breath. And then on the next inhale, bring yourself back up to the center. And we'll switch, taking it over to the left. Nice full breath. Back up to the top. Once more over to the right. See if you can move in a little deeper to the stretch this time. And then back to the top. Over to the left. Inhaling center. And we'll release the hands. So let's take the right hand over to the left knee, left hand behind the back. The gentle little twist over to the left. Feeling rooted in the pelvis, tall through the spine, relax through your shoulders. Let's release that back to the center, over to the second side. So just gentle. Let's go back to the middle again. Over to that left side, set it up properly this time, right? So we're extra tall on the spine, pressing into the left hand helps lengthen, yeah? And then pulling against the outside of the knee or the thigh or wherever it is you grab to gently bring yourself a little deeper into your twist here. Releasing that back to the middle. Take your second side, yeah, right? So the right hand supports and the left hand gently draws the body around. And then release that one back to the middle. Around onto hands and knees. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. The spine is in this nice neutral position, right? So we're not sagging, we're not pushing away from the floor, right in the middle. And then on the inhale, go ahead and drop your belly, squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back, and look up. Exhale, reverse that, rounding through your spine, think forehead to belly button. Ain't never gonna touch. And then again here, inhale, let's take the belly low. Exhale, round the spine to the ceiling. And then just move between those two positions with your breath. Really good first thing in the morning or after a long day sitting at a desk, if that's you. Let's go once more in each direction and really move into that as deep as it's going to get for now. And then back to your middle again. So with the neutral spine, make sure the belly's working. We're going to extend the right leg straight back, heel in line with the hip. Extend the left arm forward and stretch away in opposite directions. Releasing that back down. Taking the second side, same exact thing. Pressing through the left heel, stretching through the right fingertips. Let's release that side. We're going to go back to the first side, so go ahead and extend your right leg and left arm. And then take it out to the sides. So the arm over to the left, bring the leg around to the right, and hold here. Press through the heel, stretch through your fingertips. Release your hand to the floor, take the toes over to the floor on the side here, and come on up on the knee. So if you need to cushion your knee, cushion your knee. Take that left arm up, and we're going over the ear, keeping the left shoulder back, maybe looking up at the ceiling unless that bothers your neck. And then let's come up again. Now we're going over to the left. So that left hand all the way to the floor. Your right toes can stay on the mat. If that's you, you can lift if you like. Maybe extend the right hand up. And then back up to the center again. Hands to the floor in front. We'll go ahead and lift the right leg. Hold it. And then take it back and down. All right. Same idea on the second side. So left leg and right arm. Extending the arm to the left, that's right, and the leg to the left. Bringing the hand to the floor, the toes over to this side here. Come on up on the knee. Reaching the right arm up and over. And then back up to the top, all the way over to the right, keeping the toes on the floor or not. Keeping the left hand on the hip or toward the ceiling, maybe even overhead if you like that. And then we're going to come back up to the middle. Release the hands to the floor and center. And then lift that leg, hold it out there. Take it back and down into your child's pose. All fours, and then into child's pose. Guess you have to get there first. Move away. And around. So go back to all fours again. than kids, I think. No, they're not. Extend your right leg back again. This time bend the knee. And take the left hand back there and see if you can find your foot. So maybe you find it, maybe you don't, right? Working with your balance here. Think pointing the knee at the floor and take the toes toward the ceiling. Gently release. Back into that all fours again. And then same idea, second side. Left leg, bend at the knee. Take the right hand and see if you can find your foot. And then you make it more or less challenging as you need. Gently release what you got. Back into that all fours, and one more time back down into your child's pose. So go ahead and stretch your arms out long. Ground the four corners of the hands. Shifting your body up into kneeling plank. Finding the four corners of the hands, thinking about where the shoulders are on the back, making sure the belly's in. And then let's just rock back and forth. So back to your child's pose. Forward into kneeling plank. And if that's where it needs to remain, that's where it remains. But maybe you can either lift into a down dog when you're back, or shift into a full plank when you're forward, and then back to your down dog. So back and forth, again, pumping it up or not. So one more time, forward and back, wherever you are. If you need a rest, of course, go ahead and take it. And maybe your resting pose is down dog. Maybe it has to be child's pose. You decide. But see if you can sink into it. So if you are in child's pose, maybe open your knees and drop your chest and belly closer to the floor. Or if you're in down dog, sink into your heels and press your chest back toward your thighs some more. Really kind of dig into it here. If you are in down dog, the head should hang between the arms, not lower, right? I mean, that's a nice little stretch, and if you want to hang there for a little second, that's fine. But you want to maintain that alignment with the shoulders here. So if you did drop down, go ahead and lift back to down dog. And we're going to step the right foot forward into a lunge. Dropping the back knee, adjusting your foot so that your knee is over your ankle. And then we're going to take that right leg straight. Remember to modify if you need to modify in any way. Cushioning the knee, using blocks, whatever it might be. Let's bend back into the knee and shift the hips forward. Think sweeping the legs toward each other here. Climbing up on the thigh, lift the upper body. Hang on if you like, maybe extend the arms. And then release. Leaving the knee on the floor if you need to. Otherwise, take that leg straight. or lift the knee, and then take the right leg straight. Even here, think drawing the legs toward each other, pulling the shoulder blades toward each other on the back. And then bend back into the knee in this high lunge, or drop the knee if you need. Climb up on the thigh again. Lifting the upper body. Sinking through the hips, but trying to keep this left leg straight. Sweeping the legs together toward each other, really, for that stability. And then if you want to add the arms somewhere, add the arms. And then release it. So let's walk the hands around to the left and find yourself in a straddle fold here. If you need to take your feet wider, bring them closer together, make the adjustment. And your toes point forward, letting the upper body hang for just a minute here. Relax your shoulders, let your head hang. Feel like a little bend in your knee, bend your knee. And then we're going to take those hands and walk them around towards your left foot, lunging toward the back of your mat. Go ahead and start with the knee on the mat. Take the left leg straight. So just finding the stretch here. If you need to bump it up, make it more intense, make it less intense. Bend into the knee and drop those hips. Sweeping the legs toward each other for stability, climb on up on the leg and bring the upper body vertical, maybe even just a little bit beyond vertical for a little bit of a back bend idea. Engaging the arms if you like. And then release that, keeping the knee down or not, and then taking the left leg straight again. Once more here, we're going to bend into the knee, leaving the right knee off the floor or dropping it back down, and then climbing up, maybe reaching the arms or not. And then releasing that. We'll walk the hands back around into the center of our straddle. Adjusting the feet if you need to. Taking the index and middle fingers, wrap them around your big toes. Legs are straight if you can make them straight. If they need to be a little bent, they are. We're going to bend our elbows out to the sides. Maybe pull against the toes to draw yourself deeper. Let's release the toes. Take the fingers to interlace behind the lower back. Draw your shoulder blades toward each other and stretch the knuckles away from the shoulders. Avoid hyperextending the elbow. And every time you think you've gone as far as you can, see if you can pull your shoulders closer together, and then maybe you can actually stretch away a little deeper than you thought. Let's release the fingers and then walk the hands Back around toward your right foot. Stepping to the top of the mat. So feet hip bone distance apart, toes point forward, like we talked about with our hands, four corners of the feet. We're gonna bring our hands up to the thighs, lift the body parallel to the floor. And then keep this 90-degree-ish bend in the hip as you bend into the knees and then find chair. So lean on the legs with your hands if you feel like you need to. If you feel like your bum's sticking out, tuck your tailbone down a little bit. And now we want to sink into the hips, keeping the knees in line and the upper body lifted as much as you can. So give it a go. Sink a little deeper into the legs. And then if you kind of sunk your chest, lift it back up again. And then see if you can sink a little deeper into your legs and lift your chest again. And you'll find where maybe you fall back on your butt or you feel like you're gonna, right? You'll find the place. Hanging on if you need to, coming center or extending the arms if that's you. We'll take just a couple more breaths. And then inhale, stretch to the ceiling. And release everything here. All right. So let's take a standing back bend. And if you need your hands on either side of the lower back, take them there. If you like, you can interlace your fingers behind your back. You can take cactus arms or extend your arms. And you don't have to stay where you start. Right? So if you decide you want to change it up, change it up. So it's all going to be the same otherwise. Four corners of the feet, little tuck of the tailbone, pull the shoulder blades toward each other on the back, and then imagine lifting your chest to the ceiling. Keeping the chin tucked just a little bit. So the hands do what they do. If you're supporting, they're good. Drawing the elbows toward each other maybe a little bit more, lifting the chest a little higher. If your knuckles or your fingers are interlaced, reach your knuckles for the floor. Maybe the arms out in cactus, give you a nice little chest stretch. Or overhead. Extra body weight takes you a little deeper into the back bend. Find where you want to be. Switching up your arms if you need to. We're gently going to bring ourselves back up to a neutral position. Releasing the arms. Supporting with the hands on the thighs, go ahead and bring yourself back over into that half fold. Nice and slow. Leaning if you need as much as you need. And then all the way over into our fold again. So let's go ahead and take a bend into the knees here, just a soft bend. On an inhale, roll your spine all the way back up. Coming back to stand. So we're going to take a standing balance here, a little different than sometimes. So if you need to, yikes, I'm sweating so much. If you need to, step away from your mats, near a wall, near a chair maybe, where you can support yourself if you need. Right. And then taking all the weight over into the right foot, we're just going to lift the left knee. Open until you feel your hips start to shift, right? So that spot right before that. And then bring the left foot into the right leg, anywhere but your knee. So on the floor, calf, up into the inner thigh, whatever. Hugging your legs together. Activating. So tucking the tailbone down. If you want to add in arms, you can come center. You can interlace behind your back. You can take cactus or extend. Same idea. You can turn it into a little bit of a back bend, even. Or you can twist it. Again, tons of ways to make this more or less challenging. So maybe you're standing here with your hand on your chair, right? Or maybe your toes are on the floor. And you're gonna wobble wherever you are, so don't let that freak you out. The body weight is constantly shift, 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 so you don't fall down. Take one more breath, and then release it. So, second side, all the weight left, lift the right, take it open, and then bring it in. Finding where it needs to be over here. So maybe you only want to wobble a little bit, and then you bump it up and you wobble too much. So find the middle. Always looking for the middle. Adding in the arms, if you're adding in arms. Changing your gaze. Maybe close your eyes. Maybe that's as simple as it is to make it challenging enough without adding all the other things, right? Taking one more breath over here. And then releasing it all. All right. So let's come back to the top of the mat if you did move away. Hands back on the thighs or fold again. So ideally here, the upper body is going to stay where it is. If you need to bring your fingertips to the floor, if your legs are straight anyway, you're probably not quite parallel to the floor unless your arms are as long as your legs, which would be a little weird. But it is what it is, right? So if you need to touch the floor, you need to touch the floor. Otherwise, keeping the hands on the thighs helps. We're going to shift all the way to the left. And then sweep that right leg back. Like we were on hands and knees, only no knees. No hands. So pressing through the heel. The hands can remain supporting. They can be on the floor again if you need to. If you have a block, I mean, obviously you can keep yourself a little bit more vertical that way, horizontal that way. And in the arms, back, sides, forward. And then take the hands to the floor, bend into the knee, step way back for lunge. Sweeping the legs toward each other. So earlier we just climbed up on a leg to lift up. And if you need that, you need that. Otherwise, take those arms, sweep them forward and up into our full lunge here. Keep the right leg straight-ish, pressing through the heel. Feel as if you're sinking into your hips and keeping the upper body as vertical as you can. From here, drop your back heel and open into warrior two. So hips are open, you can see your left big toe beyond your knee, right? Arms are parallel to the floor. Transitioning into triangle. So take your left leg straight, reach forward of the toes, and then bring the left hand down and lift the right arm up. Let's release that over into our straight leg lunge. And then we're going to twist it. So the right hand stays put, left hand maybe to your hip, and rotate the belly around. You can take the left arm to the ceiling if that makes you happy. Keep the legs sweeping toward each other. If you needed a knee down variation here, you can take that. Release the twist and little cushion bend into the knee here. We're going to hop the right foot in until we can lift it back up the floor, Kind of where we started in this Warrior 3 variation. Release the right foot and the hands to the floor into a fold. Maybe a little bit in the knees here. We're going to hang out for a second, rounding through the spine, letting your head rest, grabbing opposite elbow if you like. And then we're going to work our second side. So again here, if you need your fingertips on the floor, you're not quite vertical, but or horizontal. Yes. But it is what it is, right? Otherwise, hands up to the thighs. All the way to the right leg. Lift the left one back. Taking our Warrior 3 here, adding in the arms if that's you. Bending into the knee, fingertips to the floor, step way back, lunge. Making sure you feel stable here. If you need the knee down, take the knee down. If you need to climb up on the thigh first, go ahead. Otherwise, lift the upper body. Open it into a Warrior 2. Make sure you're adjusting your feet. Sometimes they're exactly in the right position. Sometimes you need to adjust. Right leg straight. Reaching forward in those toes as you hinge over for triangle. Bringing the hands to the mat for our straight leg lunge idea. Adjusting here, feet closer, further, right, left knee down, maybe, yeah. And then we're gonna twist. So the left hand stays where it is, right hand either to the hip or to the ceiling if that's you, as you rotate the belly around. Release the twist. Bend back in, that cushion bend. Hop the left foot in until you can lift it away from the floor. Maybe parallel, maybe the upper body's parallel, maybe the arms fly. And then release it back over into the fold. This time here, let's go ahead and step back to a down dog. And drop on down into your child's pose. From child's pose, let's go ahead and stretch out onto the belly. And we're going to work with locust. So for right now, go ahead and leave your toes on the floor. Turning the tailbone toward your heels to keep the lower back happy. The arms can do, well, lots of things. But for right now, we're either going to take them down by your sides or interlace them behind your lower back. Toenails on the floor, tailbone tucked, shoulder blades pulled toward each other regardless of where your hands are. And then the chest curls. Like when we were doing our standing back bend, right? At the very beginning. We think of lifting the chest in this case, toward the wall in front of you. Knuckles stretch back toward your heels, or fingers if you're not interlaced. And let your upper belly feel soft as you breathe. And you may find that you rise and fall with your breath a little bit. Let's go ahead and release it. And we're going to work with just the legs. So make a little pillow for your head and rest either your chin or your forehead on that pillow. Imagine spreading your toes really wide, but then extending the big toe toward the wall behind you. Feeling your hamstrings? See if you can lift your legs using your hamstrings instead of your glutes. Well, not instead of, at least as much as. Sometimes if you just squeeze your butt, it shortens up your lower back and pinches. So release that. And then we're going to put it together. This is killing me. So hands either down by your sides or interlaced behind your back. Shoulders pull toward each other. Big toes stretch away from the body. Keep the tailbone tucked as you curl your chest away from the floor. Breathe. And then release. So turn your toes toward each other. And then just kind of rock back and forth on your hips. Shake out your lower back. All right. So bumping it up or not. You can work with locust again. You could skip it and take a child's pose. You can roll over on your back and take Shavasana for all for all anyone is going to know. This time, bend your knees. And then take your hands back and see if you can find your feet. So we found them one at a time before. Sometimes finding both at the same time can be a little much, right? So if it's one at a time, it's one at a time. If you flex your feet, gives your hands kind of a handle there. Keeping the knees toward each other. They don't have to touch, but you don't want them slinging out to the sides. Push the feet into the hands. Pull your shoulder blades together on your back. Maybe lift your thighs away from the floor. And if you're breathing here, it's a big rock. And release. Same as before, make that little pillow for your head, turn your toes toward each other, and just gently rock back and forth on your hips. Let's go ahead and simply roll over onto your back. All right, so find alignment. Wiggle around until you got that. Your feet can be flat to the floor, the legs extended out, whatever feels better. Letting your spine just kind of relax into the mat. If they're not already, go ahead and bend the knees and pull those knees into the chest. Give yourself just a little rock. Taking the feet flat, go ahead and cross your left ankle over your right knee. Keeping the left knee open to the side, reach back behind the right thigh, interlacing the fingers. So pull that leg in and notice if your body kind of rounds up. And then keep your arms pulling in towards your body, but push your leg back into your hands. And if you were rounding up, maybe you're rounding up less. Ideally here, the spine is as neutral as it was when we were laying flat or had the feet flat to the floor. Let's release it, and we will switch sides. So the right foot over the left, reaching back behind the left leg, and simply drawing in here. Keep the arms pulling, and then use the leg to push back away. Finding a more neutral spine, maybe opening the right knee more. And then releasing that, both feet flat to the floor again. Let's open the arms out into a T position. And as you know, this last twist is all you, right? Whether you just let your knees fall, whether you shift the hips first or take the legs straight, maybe even cross your legs, right? I'm gonna shift my hips to the left and then draw my knees to the right. So legs are to the right regardless of whatever variation you want. And then even here, you can change it up, right? Maybe just sink into it, like gravity do it. Or maybe you work more to take your left foot or knee toward your right hand and your left arm away, actively stretching or not. Let's take just a couple more breaths on this side. And then we're going to bring it back to center and switch. So whatever you were doing on the first side, start there for your second side. And if you need to change it, you change it then. Taking just a couple more breaths over on this side. And then making your way back up to the middle again. So then once more, draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little rock. And then bring them in for a really good squeeze. Pull them in as tight as you can get. Pull your forehead toward your knees. Release that out into a full body stretch. And then release your stretch and find whatever Shavasana is going to look like. Taking the time to set your alignment, but then releasing into it. At some point, you gotta quit fussing, right? Just relax. Release the muscles, release control of your breath. And if you need to maybe count those breaths to keep your mind present, count breaths. Just let your mind and your body relax and rest. Lingering a little longer in Shavasana if you like. But if you're ready, begin to gently draw your breath deeper. Restore small movements to the body. Maybe take another full body stretch if that feels good. When you're ready, taking the feet flat to the floor. Slowly make your way back up to a seated position. Sitting well, drawing the palms to touch. Down into the light within. Namaste. And there's even a little bit of sun. What do you do? All right. So, fun with cats. I don't have anything special coming up. If you have suggestions, comments, poses you want to see, questions, just feel free to shout out, and I will see you next weekend. Have a good weekend, y'all. Thanks, Ty.